Hi everyone, welcome back to Morning Talks. I'm your host Christian. This is Ray, and I want to talk to you today about well, I'm a musician, so why don't we talk about writer's block? A few friends of mine who are also songwriters, they we kind of made a discussion out of this, but they kind of brought up how they have writer's block, and when they asked me, I frustratedly answered that I don't really have writer's block. And to go into a bit of detail about that, for those of you who do have writer's block, this is why my answer was I don't. Number one, if you're experiencing writer's block, because I've experienced writer's block plenty of times, it typically means that I'll I'll go in two different directions, but it typically means number one, or A, that you are overthinking the theme, you're overthinking the idea, and what you need to do is take a step back from it. Take a day away from it, or a few moments away from it. Go for a walk, focus on something else, and then come back to it, and then you'll have a little bit of more clarity. I know that I personally don't work super well under pressure. I can somewhat, depending on what it is, but like if I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, I tend to feel overwhelmed and I feel stuck. So it could be that, or it could be what my other friend brought up. It could be that you're focusing on something that's a little bit inauthentic to you. Maybe you're trying to emulate something that you don't really have the lived experience for, or you don't know someone personally close to you that has gone through something like that, and you kind of just want to be like, well, I want to write about Romania or something that like you might know vaguely because of like Dracula or something like that, but like you really don't have any knowledge of, and you just want to start writing about it. Well, like, okay, so how you gonna come at that? So that could be one of the answers. The other answer obviously being that you're kind of just like overthinking it, spinning your wheels in a similar fashion to you just needing to take a break from it. I know that I personally, I have multiple projects that I'm working on for myself. When I play with other people, I'm not really writing. I'm kind of just like playing around with their ideas. So like, it's not necessarily a writing thing, but like I have multiple projects for myself I'm working on. So if one isn't really working out, I just move on to the next one. Whichever one has the least resistance, that's the one that you want to focus on, because when you kind of let things flow more naturally, then the song will actually fully form itself in the exact way that it's meant to. Also, here's another tip. Don't be afraid to collaborate with other people, whether they be songwriters or just singers or different musicians, because working with different people will give you results that may be better than whatever you are able to come up with on your own. And I know that in my experience, which is why the record that I'm getting ready to release has a bunch of collaborations, at least vocally, that it not only elevates what you're working on, but will give you new ideas, as I mentioned prior. Like, it'll give you new ideas to work with. And for example, one of my bass players, when I was just starting the Morning Coffee project, I had a couple songs, and what he played was so interesting on a couple of those songs that I had to ask him to just record those parts with me, because they just fit the song so well and did something more interesting than what I was doing. So even though what I'm doing is a solo project, I'm still more than willing to step out of my own way to let other people's ideas come through, whether they be a producer or whether they be a musician, like my drummer Tommy. Obviously, like, he'll take my ideas, but then he'll put his own spin on them, which will make them fit even more. Sometimes I'll just give him a song, he'll just play on it and be like, that's perfect. Just understanding his style after 3 years. Working with him is just very easy because of that chemistry that we built up over time, and the fact that we're on the same page musically. So writing together when it comes to drums and percussion, just it comes naturally for us. So you wanna step out of your own way. A big thing that I want to give, if you take anything away from this video, one thing I really want you to take away from this video is that if you have your best material now, that currently written right now, this is your best material, make that the next thing that you're going to release. Obviously, you want to build up to it. You want to create a video or some kind of media behind it, some kind of push, put it on blast, but always put your best foot forward. This is something that I learned the hard way. I always sat on my best material just thinking like, oh, you know, once I get this record label deal, or once I get to this level, or once I have this amount of people, because like the last thing that we want as musicians is for our songs to fall on deaf ears, for us to be performing to an audience of no one. But the thing is that if you're putting your best foot forward right away, then you're going to make a bigger splash. And this is a very harsh truth we all need to accept, a lot of people, the first thing we do, that's what they judge us on. And so if the first thing you do kicks ass, then guess what? People are going to be wanting to hear what you come up with next. They're going to be more interested in what you come up with next. And the only reason, aside from making a bigger splash and a better impression, first impression, that I would suggest that you put your best material up to the front, up to the forefront of what you're doing, but because it's also, whenever I put out what I thought was my best song, I always wrote something better. I always wrote something better. And the thing is that if you never stop writing, you're always pushing yourself, just like anything else in life. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So if you think you have your best song now, just wait. Just wait until you see what you're able to come up with after that. So as a songwriter, please don't hold yourself back. Put your best stuff out now. AI is only going to keep getting better. Eventually, that's going to, if it's not already disrupting, eventually it's going to completely disrupt our industry and make hardworking musicians like yourself and myself make it harder for us to have like that hit song or have a song that goes viral or any of that. Like, now's the time. It's always now. Now I'm giving you my disease a little bit. I have this thing in me that it's not necessarily FOMO, but it's definitely a cousin of FOMO. Like, I'm not afraid of what I'm missing out with other people, but I do feel deeply in my soul that now's the time. There's no reason to hold back. There's no reason to wait for anything. I've been on record labels. I've done the touring. I've done all these things. Like, you want to put your best foot forward now, because regardless of whether you have several records out already or you haven't recorded anything yet, if you lead with your best material, that's how you get people's attention. That's how you get people to be fans. Like, it's so strange that, like, in every project that I've been in up until this one, I've always held back my best material until it got to a point where, like, I felt like, you know what? I gotta put this song out. I gotta put this song out. And then once I did, guess what? It really resonated with people. And I always wrote something better. I think that we need to really get out of our own way. If there's any other thing that you take away from this, aside from putting your best material forward, it's to also get out of your own way. I think as a songwriter, as people that we're being very vulnerable, very intimate with what we're doing, so we don't want to relinquish control, or we don't want things to not turn out the way that we hope. So we plan for things to be a specific way. We have these expectations. We need to completely get out of our own way. We need to be okay with collaborating with other people. We need to be okay with putting out our best material now. And we need to be okay with starting from the bottom. I've had to start from the bottom so many times that is exhausting as it's gotten. I understand it, and that's why I am not afraid of it anymore. But a lot of people, especially people that have been in touring bands before and stuff like that, like as soon as the band breaks up or things fall through, they wind up just dropping it because it's very exhausting. And I don't think that being a full-time musician is for everyone. I know that for me, as much as I enjoyed like things like touring and being on record labels and stuff like this, as much as I enjoyed that, I ultimately realized that a lot of it wasn't really worth it. And what really fit my mold was not just writing and putting out music, but like making content for it, especially post 2020. Like it's really like the thing now, like now more than ever. And also I write and sing for other people on Fiverr, so I'm a hired ghostwriter. So I'm always constantly being given the opportunity to flex my my writing muscle. And even if I wasn't, I would be, and I am actually, so not would be, I am, I'm constantly journaling. I'm writing poetry. So I'm always putting the pen to paper. Back in 2012, I reached out to a songwriter that inspired me like 20 years ago to start writing. As soon as I heard their music, it really inspired me to like go and just try it. And he told me in 2012 when I reached out to him to never stop writing. And I took that so literally that every single day since then, I've been writing every single day. Whether it's something new, whether it's revising something old, whether it's just listening to demos and revising certain words, or whether it's writing poetry or, like plotting out different things. Never stop writing. Always write. That'll also help with your writer's block. So to go back to the original theme, because obviously just songwriting in general, I get a little lost in the weeds. There's a lot to it. But if you're having writer's block, just try writing anything. Try writing anything. And there's a lot of songs that like I didn't feel fit for me, vocally, lyrically, musically, that I was able to sell to other people that fit more with what they were going for, or fit more with certain themes that they wanted to flesh out. So sometimes, like working with other people will not only help your music, but it'll also, like working with other people writing for them, will give you the opportunity to be sharper and think in a different way. Like, oh, maybe your ideas aren't bad, maybe they're just misplaced. And I think that it's really easy to get in your head about things, and that's something that I've done a lot. And the only way to get out of your head is to take a step away from what you're doing and do something else. I write a lot, so I tend to just step away from whatever I'm working on and work on something else. But other things that help are nature walks. I love being in nature, so I'll go for a walk around the lake that I live by, or, just a random nature trail or something like that. Maybe I'll spend some time at the gym or go for a run outside. Anything to kind of just get out of your head or be in a different place. I know that like a lot of ideas come to me at random spots, like I'll just be driving or something like that. So that's another way to get the creative juices flowing. It does help to be inspired by things that you're going through. Maybe you watch a movie, you're inspired by a movie. I remember in 2017, I forgot what I was watching. I was like some kind of post-apocalypse thing, and I just felt inspired to pick up my guitar, and this song poured out of me. And then years later, I recorded it as the end of everything, essentially. And it kind of like repeated initially as a mantra. And then I started coming up with more words to flesh out what the end of everything meant, which, you know, another thing you want to do as a songwriter, if you have writer's block, is to try, maybe, like I just mentioned a second ago, watching different things, listening to other artists. I know I'm very inspired by other artists too, so like listening to other people and what they're doing and how they're saying it and stuff like that, maybe that'll inspire you to try to do the same thing. Or maybe they use a word and you're like, that's the thing that's missing, or, you know, because like we're all borrowing from each other. So the idea is to become unstuck by taking a break, listening to something else, or focusing on something else. There are so many different ways to get yourself unstuck, and these were just a few. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you again soon.